2.
I watched the most bullshit self-serving documentary I've ever heard or seen in my life.
Really a documentary though?
So I think it depends on how you judge it, on how you define a documentary. So Phil, you got to relax. You sound like you're playing pity pat.
Sorry.
So it's about this guy. He does like a ghost show on History Channel, I think. And yeah, so he did a documentary on, it's called like Demon House. And there's like this house and somebody died in it and people have had weird experiences in it or whatever. So he goes to this house and he does this documentary on it. And it's such fucking bullshit. Like I feel like I have grounds for a lawsuit.
For having
for like how bullshit it is. And like just watching it and thinking to myself, like certain things, like he's like, at that point I became really scared and turned the camera off and saw terrible things. Like, really, dude? So then like we went on IMDb to like check out the reviews of it, and like all of the reviews, there's like 30 some reviews, and they're all like fucking amazing. They name the director by name. Did like a wonderful job. So we looked into it further. All of the 5-star reviews are from people that name the director by name and have only reviewed one film on IMDb.
Oh, nice.
It's just utter bullshit. It's called Demon House or Demon some shit. I highly recommend that everybody skip it at all costs. At all costs.
Highly recommend skip.
Yeah.
All right.
How did you get turned on to it?
I think we were like, so when Laura and I are working on dioramas or whatever, we'll put on. We've been having this like new thing of like we move the kitchen table in it so that we can watch the TV, and we'll like put on a documentary series, and so we always look for something, and it was like Demon House in. I'm already in. It was a huge mistake.
I'm surprised because this doesn't sound like your bag.
Really? I love that kind of shit, like haunted houses and shit. I love that shit.
Documentary though?
Especially.
Oh, okay.
But not like the ghost.
I didn't think you were like a supernatural dude, like with real life.
Dude, I'm all over that shit, man. Spirits and ooh, I'm all over that shit. Yeah, I mean, dude, I've had it where I've like walked into a room, I'd be like, it doesn't feel right in here.
Yeah, but as a documentary, it's mostly bullshit, I would think.
Well,
right?
Yeah, so, as it turns out, you were right. But I still like. I mean, I'm kind of interested in that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the world has been falling apart. I have a number of feelings. I know we're gonna have to talk about it in some regard. I'm gonna dig into it on Wine and Cheese, I think, a little bit this month. But I have a number of complicated thoughts regarding it. I think that let me try to use a metaphor. I twist your sister. What you think a metaphor? So I think if you look down at this from a bird's eye view, and you see two parallel, congruent wires running from one direction to the other, that you've got your parties muddled up. I think that if you look down at this from a bird's eye view, it's a pile of fucking wires, and we all just need to agree that we need to sit down and untangle this shit. But it's at the very least complicated. That being said, I'm going to kind of check the temperature of the room before I talk too much about it, but I've seen a number of fascinating things this week. One of which being, but not limited to, I've seen brave doctors. This was on this podcast I listened to, but it's a fucking fact. Brave doctors standing out, stopping people from coming near the hospital, not wearing masks, to brave doctors standing outside of hospitals, applauding people walking by, not wearing masks.
Wow, that's a contradiction.
It's just a strange time.
People too, right?
Joe, how was your nerd week?
I don't think I did anything. There's a new event in Fate, the mobile game that me and my girl play. So we've been doing that a lot. She's been streaming, and I've been on her stream a bunch. So I can't recall watching anything that is not just like Twitch or YouTube. If I do, I'll say something. But I think
anything worthwhile on YouTube?
The Let's Plays and stuff. Nothing you guys are interested in. You old fucks.
Come on, Joe. Come on.
I turned off Facebook yesterday. I don't think I've ever turned off Facebook in since fucking 12, 15 years ago or some shit when I signed up.
Are you still on Messenger?
Yeah, that's why cool. I turned off Facebook and left on Messenger, because that's the only way I talk to.
He's on Messenger right now, Phil. Making sure you're aware of how this works.
I'm sorry. Like I said, the value's wearing off.
Yeah, it's I don't think first of all, I think that Facebook is kind of a bullshit platform if you're not using it for a specific tool. I'm past Facebook as a means of literal social media. I just find it to be more problematic and divisive and fucking silly.
I use it as a social media, as in that's how I socialize with people.
That's what I mean. That's
what
I mean.
How I socialize with anybody other than you guys.
Well, that's what I mean. Is that I don't think it's effective. This is episode 250. I feel like it's a bit of a milestone. But
oh yeah, that's right. Oh shit.
But I feel like it is not good at that. Whatever MySpace started or Friendster started in that vein, I feel like Facebook has gotten away from that, and it's become something else. And I got on there to scroll recently, and within 3 minutes, I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah, it's quite a dumpster fire.
Yeah. So I don't blame you, and I'm also a fan of just turning the fucking phones off. Generally speaking, just getting away from that shit. What were you gonna say, Chris?
The best thing that came out of Friendster, Facebook, anything was it totally negated the need to have a class reunion from high school.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because guess what? We're all friends on Facebook, and I don't talk to y'all motherfuckers. I didn't talk to you in high school. For some reason, we're friends on Facebook, and we don't talk to each other.
Right.
Exactly. Definitely don't want to pay $100 to stand in a room and not talk to you.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think people would be more surprised if I did show up to a class reunion.
So we had a 10-year, and I didn't go. I bought tickets, but ended up having to work out of town. So I gave my tickets to somebody who paid me for them 10 years later. It's a whole other story.
I think you told that.
Yeah, I ran into this guy at a comic convention. He's like, "I owe you $50." I'm like, "Dude, don't worry about it." And he just paid me. I'm like, I obviously that money's not chasing you. Now the motherfucker that owes me $38 for a wrestling ticket from 1997, I'm still chasing him. mainly because I remember that event very well. No, but past talking about class reunion, did any of y'all have a high school reunion that was? Did anybody put one together?
Yeah, we had a 10-year one.
Yeah, we had a 10-year one. I didn't go though.
No, me neither.
I wanted to go to mine, but just didn't add up. Because I went to military boarding school, so the people from all over the world went to that school.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't get the time to go. And I went to my 9th year.
Ninth.
I went to my 9th year. And I wanted to go to my 20th, which was last year, but I couldn't. I just couldn't make it happen.
That seems kind of inconsistent. It seems like it doesn't seem par for the course with you to want to attend something like that.
It was a special place.
Oh, dude! Shout out to special places.
Shout out to
it was a special place.
It was an experience that most people don't get.
Yeah, for sure.
Living in high school for 4 years with the same people, that really got me ready for the real world with roommates and fucking living on your own and shit.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. I get the need for it. I totally get the need, and especially people coming from all over the place, and I get it. It just doesn't seem like a Joe thing.
Yeah, it's not. This is the only thing I ever had a desire to do that is out of my character, I guess.
Huh.
Because, like I said, it's more than just a class reunion. You know, as like a teenager, like your emotions are higher, right, at baseline now. You know, I mean, like we've known each other for quite several years, right? So imagine, like, let's say all of Skullfest people, like all of the closest crew, just all of us lived in one building for 4 years. Robert D, all of those people for 4 years, and then you don't fucking see each other for 20 years. You have a connection that you're gonna want to reconnect.
Right.
Well, the point I make is anybody you want to talk to, you can talk to at a push of a button at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Few and far between. There's people that aren't on social media that are my age, I'm assuming, but I don't want to talk to any of them anyways.
Yeah.
So your military boarding school.
I still talk to or like, you know, acquaintance with some of my teachers from there. Like they're on my Facebook. I don't talk to them like fucking like this, but like I would say hi or happy birthday once in a while. Just because I do care what happens to them, even if I'm not, you know, actively participating in their life.
Right.
So the military boarding school was kind of like a college, but 4 years earlier, basically, because you were away from all your family.
No, it's more like jail, but school.
Oh. Yeah, but it was like a dormitory style.
Joe, you literally grew up in an anime then?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't the main character though. So.
Well, yeah, because you have black hair.
You're a side, yeah.
You guys know the deal.
I've seen the memes.
I'm proud that you understand, Bobby.
Yeah, I've seen the memes. Plus, my kids are now watching Airbender.
Yeah, I told them to watch it.
Yeah, you actually.
Somebody in your family listens to my recommendation. That's crazy.
Well, here you want to hear the funny part
Your
about it?
Uncle Joe, of course they do.
You want to hear the funny part about it? A week prior to that, guess what conversation Laura, myself, and the kids had?
What?
You know, this show, The Last Airbender, Avatar, The Last Air, it's really highly regarded and it comes really highly recommended by Joe, by Adam. Like, you guys should really give it a shot. I don't know. A week later, hey, we're going to watch this show called Avatar. Uncle Dolphin recommended it. I was like, oh, this ain't some bullshit. This ain't some fucking bullshit. So, yeah. And it's the same thing with My Hero Academia. You know what I mean? Like I was like, look, like this comes highly regarded. I was like, no. Well, Kennedy says it's a really good show, so we're gonna give it a watch. I was like, this is fucking shit.
I mean, you know, imagine your dad telling you about an NWA record back in the day.
Well, that's gonna be them later on. Be like, you know, my dad had me listening to fucking Pop Smoke.
Hey, you said it, man. Pop Smoke died and shit went to shit.
Yep, that was the fucking rock that broke loose the avalanche, man.
Dang. That was the beginning of the world ending.
Yep. Anything else? Anything else, Joe?
That's all I can think of. Swapping back from Gundam back to 40K again.
Oh yeah, I've seen some stuff about 40K. I've seen some people upset about 40K recently.
I don't know why. 9th edition is about to drop, and it's exciting times.
Yeah, I don't know why. I wish I would have saved some of the memes, but I've seen some memes recently that. I think they've shown like other reputable kind of sculptors or whatever, and they're like such and such and such $5, such and such Games Workshop $40. Makes sense, like little stuff like that. Yeah,
no. I mean, people have been bitching about, and me too. Like, Games Workshop stuff is incredibly overpriced, but we buy it. Well, some of us buy it. Some of us buy it a lot. You know, so like they stay in good business.
Right.
You know, it's just like fucking Gucci or anything else. Like a fucking bag. Like, how can a handbag cost $900? Even if a man sits down and sew the entire thing from week, like it's still not $900.
I have a curiosity question because I don't know much about GameStop Workshop or the GameStop Workshop.
Barbershop, hip hop, football, lollipop, butthole flip flops, underwear, TikTok.
Can you get that stuff elsewhere, or is it only exclusively
no, it's their
stores?
Stuff. It's their stuff.
Okay, so you can't get it cheaper anywhere.
You can get it cheaper. Some of the store sells their stuff at a discounted rate, but it's still like overpriced. Like I showed Adam before.
Okay.
I took him one of my Gundam kits, right? The technology it takes for them, the amount of pieces, the amount of plastic, and the equivalent worth in, you know, what you can get from Games Workshop is ridiculous. Like Gundam kits, if you look at some of the sprues, like as multiple colors, like already pre-colored onto the piece somehow. like you don't have to paint them. And there's this one sprue where if you cut it out, like it turns into like a completely articulated hand with no assembly. Like whatever technology magic they use, they're still only charging you $50 for, you know, a fucking master grade kit, whereas $50 will buy you 10 small static models maybe, with much less details and, you know, there's zero articulation and all that good stuff. So like we've always talked about how Games Workshop is overpriced. I mean, that's why I quit like twice in my life. Most people quit at least once in their life when they play Games Workshop, is because like the price just doesn't make sense.
Well, I remember also while I'm on the topic, I remember there was another one, and it had like it was like everything that you need to play this game, and it was like one card. It's like everything you need to play this game, and it's like this stack of Bible books from Games.
Damn.
Dude, fucking 8th edition. Like Adam got all the books. I didn't realize how many books there were. Dude. I like an entire Billy shelf, right?
Wow.
A literal entire Billy shelf of books for one game. Like, it's fucking crazy. But like, I mean, that's why it's a recast and knockoffs are rampant.
Right.
But they still make money somehow. I feel like if they were smart, they would just lower the prices, and all the recast and knockoff people would just buy the real shit, and they would end up making more by volume anyway. But I'm not a fucking businessman.
Right.
So how much knockoff stuff do you have, Joe? Did you only get the official?
I buy one copy of official things, and all the other duplicates are knockoffs.
Okay, for like army.
Like say a squad is 10
Yeah.
dudes. Let's say I would have one real dude and 9 fake dudes.
Gotcha.
And if I put them on the table, you'll never be able to tell, because knockoffs aren't the same in this world.
Well, I can tell you, I don't mean to cut you off, but like one of the things that turned me off to it, like once I got my armies finished and I was like, I'm going to play this game, I'm going to have at it. And like I went and played a couple games, and like sitting there and like people like bringing books out to double check things and cross-referencing it against a codex, against a fucking, and I was just like, dude, I don't nerd as hard as y'all.
Yeah. That's why I don't party play. Like, it's like older editions are more easier and more fun and more fast. Like you fucking sit down and play Risk, or you fucking sit down and play Monopoly. You know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It used to be like that, and we're hoping 9th edition, that's what they're talking about. They're making it more streamlined. Hopefully 9th edition.
Okay.
Yeah, but why would you make it more streamlined when you can sell more books? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they keep having new editions, so every 3 years, like all the books are replaced.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Damn.
So yeah,
Damn, that's a racket, man.
like the entire 8th edition, I didn't play a single game. The last game I played was with Adam, and that was 7th edition. So that was over 3 years ago. The last game I played.
Wow.
Sheesh. Chris, how was your nerd week?
It was backbreaking. Literally. Let's see. I'll start off with some positives. Mason graduated high school.
Let's make some noise for that, goddammit.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to him, dude. That's awesome.
He's a man.
It was I almost teared up just because it was so like.
Yeah, man, of course.
Well, look, the kid was going to graduate high school. That was never a question, but just the way he graduated.
Right.
So let me just run this by you. So they had, basically said that, hey, this is how we're going to have to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get to the school, and then my parents are here actually still. It's Monday, so they're here. They came up for Mason's graduation, and then of course he turns 18 in 2 days. So by the time this publishes, he'll be a man.
Awesome, dude.
That still sleeps all fucking day in my house, but.
Man, that's the sign of the times.
We'll get around that. So we get to the school, and we walk. We go up to the door. So it's the four of us. We left the younger 2 kids. We didn't bring them because you can only have 4 people plus the graduate.
Wow.
So we get there, check in. You don't touch anything. They have all the doors propped open and people everywhere. So he goes up on the stage. We go. They said stand on the other side of this mark on the floor because they've got a camera. They're taking pictures and then doing video. And William Mason Binghamton walks across stage, gets his diploma. That's it. And we go take a couple pictures. They have a little backdrop set up in the lobby, and went home. That's it.
I'll tell you the nice thing about that is you don't have to listen to like all those other fucking kids get their diploma.
Well, I will tell you why Kelly and I were like, man, man, I kind of hope the other two graduate like this. So you're like, yeah, it's
Good luck.
Adam Allen's. 20 minutes later, Barbara Boxer. 20 minutes later, Daniel Day. Jesus, my kid's got a W name. It's gonna take forever.
Right.
Yeah. Tell me about it. You know,
Did they do any theme song or anything? Or
No, it's
okay.
it was. I mean, it was very organized, and I give the school credit for doing the best they could with what they had, and you know, he went to the career tech center and they did a thing Thursday there. It was it's a certificate basically of, you know, it's an actual like certification for print production.
Right.
So
Sweet.
yeah, you know, of course, the program was actually a deal where you went to these competitions and performed, and you could win scholarships and stuff. So he missed out on all that opportunity, which sucked. But
that sucks.
I could tell he was a little bit more, you know, I could tell he was a little more upset about that being over than high school, because I think he got a lot more out of that. So, yeah, that was two, you know, interesting things. Trying to think, we built our deck behind our house. So we bought our house, 3 years ago now, and it was a flip house. Someone had bought this house that was pretty rough, and you know, all you guys have been in my house. It's very well done on most parts. The back deck, they built the back deck, and then they covered it. They didn't use pressure treated lumber, and they covered it in the garage floor paint, that kind of gray stuff. So guess what's happened over 3 years? All that shit's peeled off and wood started to rot. So that had to be rebuilt. And I love my dad to death, but if he doesn't have a project, he's going to just start tearing things apart.
Yeah.
So on this show is like that.
So we worked in 1:1 scale this past week, and we doubled the size of our deck.
Wow.
Built it out. And
He said, wow.
Well, I'm like tramping at the bit to hear about that Pickerton barbecue.
It looks
it
looks great.
Hopefully soon.
It looks great.
Yeah, there's a couple little things that you know they're gonna finish. My dad's a whiz at the carpentry kind of stuff. So
sweet.
You know,
it's good for you, man.
The built-in benches and stuff. But that was interesting. That the first day. Actually, I think it was the day before the lumber got there, which was a whole nother fiasco, because apparently pressure treated lumber is the what toilet paper was in March. This is pressure treated lumber is in June.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's impossible to get pressure treated lumber, but like we ordered it, and my wife ordered it from Lowe's, and it was supposed to be here coming out of. I think she picked the closest Lowe's to us, which I think is Westminster. Well, they got moved to Timonium. It was going to deliver it. And then it got moved to, I don't remember, somewhere else was going to deliver it. And I'm like, at one point, I'm like, this is closer to the fucking ocean than it is to our house at this point. Because they use a third-party service to deliver this. They just contract it out. Long story short, the wood guy here. So the day before, we're tearing the old deck up. And I'm trying to maneuver one of these pieces, and you know, me and Mason over there with a crowbar and breaking these old busted boards down, and the board moved in a direction I wasn't planning on it, and the weight shifted, and my back went.
Oh,
Ooh.
My lower back. I think it's probably actually like my SI joint.
Is it? But do you think it was what I have, like the disc? Well,
I hope not. It didn't put me completely down, but I was very well. Patched up, you know, up on one of those pain patch things on it, and honestly, if I was moving, it was fine. If I stood still for even like 10 seconds, it locked up. So I was literally just like, looked like I was on a dance, you know, MTV dance competition or something. It was spring break at the Pinkerton house. It was just moving constantly. And it faded. I mean, it hurt. It hurts right now just because I'm sitting down. But if you hear me doing this kind of stuff on the microphone, it's because I got to move a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you, man. If you want to, like after the show or whatever, like just in case it might be something related because it sounds similar to what I go through. I've by this point in my life, in my wife, I have a pretty good regiment of things to do that aren't super invasive that have made an impact for me.
So last time I was super physically active playing basketball, I guess it was about 8 years ago now. I basically grinded my back out playing, on concrete.
Right.
And I I had some serious back pain. I'd gone to a chiropractor and a physical therapist, and I've got a bunch of stretches to do, but I decided I couldn't even get in the floor to do them. But it's loosening up now. Of course, then my knees hurt because I was having to use my knees a lot more to move stuff around. But yeah, so that was fun times. My parents are going to leave tomorrow, but it's been cool seeing them and the kids getting to see them and everything. I started watching a series on Hulu called, damn it, I had it pulled up. In the Shadows or something like that. It's like this vampire comedy.
Yeah, I started watching that. It's fantastic.
It's these three vampires that live in this house in Staten Island.
Yeah.
And then there's the funniest thing is there's this guy, and you'd recognize the actor because he always plays this kind of role. He's an energy vampire.
Yeah.
And so he would be like, walking up to people at a party. Have you guys ever really heard the story of how the tape measure was invented? You see, in 1768, once standard measurements have come into, and like, there's a familiar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what that is, but
yes,
the vampire wannabe.
Yeah.
For one of the vampires, and he's all the time bringing virgins around. So he's joined a LARP group to harvest virgins.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
But the virgins are so bored, they're like falling because the energy vampire runs them off because they're so explaining. I don't know what it was. I literally had a tape measure on my desk. That's why I went. But it's always something like, have you picture frames have really come a long way in the past 20 years, or just something that nobody would care about.
Did you get to the werewolf episode?
That's the next one that's on my queue.
Oh yeah. I didn't get much beyond that, but it's fantastic, dude. I was dying.
I've been, obviously this week I've been super busy, so I haven't had a lot of shop time. Yeah. But I've been kind of struggling to find something I want to watch. I've started 3 or 4 things. It's just like, I know I should give this a whole episode, but I just can't. I started Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I'm like, there's no fucking robots yet. And I'm halfway through the first episode. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I really wanted to try to watch something like anime, but with robots. And I'm like, I can't do it.
You want fun robots versus, I tell people, Serious Gundam is, the robots are like a backdrop to the story.
I know. And I probably knew that because I watched Gundam Wing back in the day.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like that. So, I watched a movie. I've been wanting to watch it, and my dad being here, of course, he grew up in this era and has some cool stories about these cars. Actually, I watched Ford versus Ferrari. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that story.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in the theaters last year. It was really good.
Yeah, so it's basically in the 1960s. Carroll Shelby, who was a world-renowned race car driver, he had a heart problem and he couldn't race anymore, and he had started his own company. And Ferrari had been winning all the Le Mans 24-hour races and all the 12 hours at Daytona for years and years and years. And basically Henry Ford II, who they called the Deuce, he had Carroll Shelby had basically gotten him fired up to try to compete. So they had the GT40 created, which is an amazing vehicle if you've never seen one. And it's the story of basically how that came to be. And Ford won, I think, 4 years in a row. They won 24 hours of Le Mans, which was unheard of for an American car company, and it's the only American car company to ever compete at that level. But it's just a cool story, a cool piece of history in time, and the Mustang came out of that whole process as well. I'm a car guy, at heart. So I started watching. Joe, you're talking about YouTube. I fell down some crazy YouTube rabbit holes.
Oh yeah, man, it's easy. It's great.
My god! So I fell down one. I fell down one that is it's about cars from the 90s, basically, and I'm reliving some of my high school days of these cars and just things like that. Huh?
Racers?
I mean, not even racers, but I had a Pontiac Grand Am in high school, and things like that, and I don't know. It was just an interesting little rabbit hole to fall down. And I've been watching a lot of stuff in 3D printing. My big womp for the week would be that Joe and I had been talking about this new resin printer that was coming out. It's the Elegoo Saturn. Yep, I said that right. It's basically 4 times the print bed of the one that we have and 60% faster or something crazy like that.
Wow.
They were doing, it was $300, which was crazy. Yep. $300 for the first 200, and then I found out since then they had a total of 1,000 units ready for this order, and then 800 at $400, which was still a great value even at that. So I got on there at like 5 minutes till, waiting. Here it is. Click, boom, get the early bird in my cart, PayPal, log in, check out, go back out of stock in my cart. Okay, I'll grab the regular one. It's $100 more, but whatever. Same thing. So I didn't get it. I know like lots of people who tried to get it and one person who did. But they said it's going to be available on Amazon by the end of the year. So
how much? Is it expensive?
I'm assuming that's going to be the price point. I mean, it may end up being like they may just add the shipping on because it was $100 shipping from China, so they may just add that shipping on. Yeah, I guess there's one other thing, but I don't want to. I'll save that for off the air. That's something that I don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wow. Nothing big. It's just. Wow. We'll pause it for a minute. I'll tell you.
All right, hold on 1 second. Oh, okay, that's not too much of a big deal. But I get you. What? You got anything else?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else of interest. I know. Did I talk about the Punisher War Machine?
Yep, you did.
Everybody. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Actually, I feel like everybody's talking about that thing. It's being super well received.
It's been super awesome. Well received. I know, Phil, you got. Was that your first Hot Toys purchase, Phil?
That's my second. The first one I got was the one from last year, the Wolf Predator from the AVPR.
Okay. Yeah, I know. A lot of people. It seems like that was, even in the realm. I'd probably tell you 15 or 20 people in the realm group picked that up. And a lot of people aren't Hot Toys collectors. It's just such a cool piece. I mean, it's the standout piece of my collection. I'll say again. Didn't do any. Actually, I prototyped a couple Dio things that I'm working on. I got a big project we actually need to start on this week for a customer. So, looks like I'll probably be getting back to work soon. Instead of just being at home, they actually are going to loosen the reins a little bit and let us get back out in the field some. I don't know how much based on, I think it'll be very dependent on, we're an international company, and I think different markets will be handled in different manners. So me being right here and covering New York City, I don't know how that'll translate, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. I watched a couple movies this week. I couldn't remember, Joe, the thriller that you recommended.
Tall Man.
So I watched The Boy. That's not the same thing.
The horror movie?
Is somebody blowing up an air mattress?
Hey, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, Phil, what you got going on?
I'll just turn it off. Sorry, I didn't realize it was coming across. It's my my compression brace to keep my blood flow.
Oh, he literally was blowing up an air mattress.
Wait,
compression brace for my leg.
No, if you need that, just keep that on. Like that's more.
Or mute yourself.
Yeah, mute yourself between talking.
Right.
No, it's good. I didn't realize it was coming through. I can have it off. It's all right. I can put it back on later. I don't have to have it on all the time.
I don't want you to lose a leg.
Correct.
And being on the show.
Correct.
No, it's just to help against DVTs.
So prevent you from dying from a lung embolism. So you need that.
Right. So do what you got to do. Just mute the mic.
The Boy, like the horror movie, The Boy?
So yes, I guess so.
Oh, I like that movie a lot too.
But I thought it was a documentary about Drake, but it turns out it wasn't. But no, it was good. It was good. It was creepy in a fucked up way,
Right?
Yeah.
And you like the ending? How it ended up?
I did. I'm not going to spoil it because there's some twists in there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I watched that, and I also watched another one that I enjoyed even more, called The Gift, which is about a.
Is that Jason Bateman?
That's the guy from Ozark or whatever. He's like in fucking everything.
That's Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's good. And so the same people that did that did The Boy.
Bobby,
really?
Bobby.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Huh.
Bobby.
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt you, and I'm gonna let you finish.
Please.
But I need to mention this. I watched Uncut Gems.
Oh yes. I watched that too.
Oh my God, I've never had that much anxiety before.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's
It
good.
was. Oh, I'm not disagreeing, but like that was a lot of anxiety in that movie because you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and then the ending is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Is it a horror movie? Gift?
No, it's a thriller.
It's like a thriller, but it's really well told story.
Yeah, it's like it's a thriller, but it's fucking good, dude. And basically, it's without spoiling it, a couple moves from the city to the suburbs because the wife had a miscarriage and they need a fresh start. And when they move to the suburbs, they move back to the husband's old town. The husband bumps into what seems to be an old school friend. You come to find out the quote-unquote old school friend is someone that the husband bullied as a young person, and the kind of drama ensues. But it's quite good. It's a small cast. Like, it could work as a play type of cast.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not unlike The Boy. In that
Joel
regard.
Egerton really was good in that movie.
Yeah, the whole thing is acted well. And then I finished the Jeff Epstein documentary series.
Dude, I tried to watch that and like it was so creepy I couldn't get through it.
So
like I got the first episode and halfway through the second. I'm like, I can't. This is too creepy for me.
So here's the thing. I watched it and I watched it all. A couple interesting one of the most interesting takeaways is just to see how money and power can influence legalities. Where it's just like, yep, this is a fucking problem with our system is fucking money.
I mean, we always do that, but I guess like seeing it
exactly.
Like, yeah,
exactly. Like, I think that we always know that kind of in broad, sort of abstract concepts. Do you know what I mean? But seeing it literally, like, nope, this person paid this person was able to influence that person, et cetera, like, you're like, oh, this is how it works.
I mean, fucking dude that raped the unconscious girl was in jail for 3 fucking months. Like, we know that. Yeah, it's awful. It's fucking awful. The system is not working.
So here's a interesting thing about it, though. One of the interesting takeaways for me, aside from the kind of flaws, for one, this fucking thing could have been done in an 1.5-hour documentary. There's no fucking reason.
Yeah. Every documentary nowadays, right?
It's because you know why, Joe?
Why?
It's the streams. You can get 4 1-hour streams versus 1.5-hour streams, and as a result, they're producing worse material and making more money.
A limited series.
I can feel my blood pressure getting worked up.
I can hear it.
but the other thing that's interesting is like the controversy surrounding the conspiracy, right, of his death. And this one guy on there was like, look, this story is ripe for conspiracy. It has all of the ingredients that make you think it's a conspiracy, and it may very well be. But that being said, just as a heads up, this prison, if you were to tell me that Jeff Epstein would be left in one prison, and in that prison he would find a way to hang himself without anybody noticing, my guess would have been this prison. It's notoriously understaffed, underfunded, and in poor regard, and nothing fucking works, let alone the cameras. Everybody was like, oh, the cameras didn't work. Isn't that strange? It's like, nope, None of the fucking cameras work in this place. It's a fucking joke. So that was like
a high-profile person in there to begin with. Like, it's on purpose.
So yeah, that's strange about it, I think. But it's also I think like the I don't want to spit bullshit facts, but then I'll get my fact button.
Then
did you see that shit recently?
Bobby, just spit hot fire instead. It's fine.
Okay, fair enough. Have you seen that shit though? Like on Twitter and Facebook, it's like fact check this when it's like some bullshit.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, they'll actually yeah.
Good.
But yeah, no, I think that's good too. But so anyway, the I think it is perhaps the only maximum security prison in Manhattan. I don't know if that's true, but that's where the case was tried, so it might have been technically the only option. Don't quote me on that. My memory is fuzzy at best. But yeah, he said like the guy was like, look, totally. Actually, but to be fair. Oh, I don't know if this is unfair. Maybe I'm not being fair and even asking you to be fair to listen to me. But the guy who said this, right? I'll tell you, there was something about his energy that I was like, I fucking like this guy. He seems like a straight shooter. You know what I mean? The guy who's like, look, this fucking prison's a joke. But while he's talking, I can't help but look at his desk. It's a fucking disaster. And I'm like, should I be taking information seriously from this man? You can't even stack a pile of papers neatly. It's like a whirlwind came in and hit this guy's desk, and he's like, no, come on and shoot it. Let's shoot it now. I got a busy day.
Yeah, it could be bothered even for the camera to just like fucking put a tarp over it or some shit.
Yeah, it's he would have been better doing it in the front lobby of the building he works in. But anyway, so I watched that. Been working on some more dioramas and trying to watch more films, but everything is either buy this or buy that. Here, you can stream all these Netflix originals that have an average of 72%. Like, yeah, no, I'll save my 2 hours, thanks. And I'm like 2 episodes behind now on the making of The Mandalorian, which I'm bummed out about. I just keep kind of forgetting to watch it.
Oh, they put a 5th one out, right?
They put one out every week. So
all right, I got to go back.
I got stuck on that. I tried to watch that.
I got to watch the 5th one now.
Oh, and you know what? I'm going to let you finish, Bobby. I did one more thing. So there's a WWE, as the first time ever he's ever allowed this to happen. So The Undertaker, who you all know who that is.
Yeah, I do.
For the first time as ever, like, he let people talk, a documentary, basically broke kayfabe. You know, he talks as himself, and he's telling the story of like what he goes through every year to do these WrestleMania matches, hip replacements, fucking knee replacements.
Damn.
It's ridiculous. It's been really fucking good. I mean, I almost put it on the level of that Bulls documentary. So that I've been watching that every week on. Okay. It's on WWE Network.
Interesting.
So. Yeah.
So they drop a little bit at a time.
Yeah, it's an episode a week. They're not dropping the whole thing, but it's very well done, very well put together, and it's very insightful, and especially if you're into that at all. So
is it how he wins every year other than the last year, right?
He went, I think, 21-0. He's actually lost twice at WrestleMania, but and he came back. They do those shows in Saudi Arabia, which is a whole other story, and he's had some really horrible matches over there. And basically, he's married to a wrestler. Michelle McCool was WWE Women's Champion back in the early 2000s and stuff. And basically, if he doesn't think he did well enough, then his only goal for the next year is to get better physically to be able to have a better match. And that's kind of been over years and years and years. Guys, like, he's in his mid-50s and still doing this. So
he is the latest Undertaker, right?
Come on, Phil.
Don't
speak out of turn.
I don't know wrestling that well.
So they did a fake Undertaker angle back in the 90s.
Gotcha,
he is the original Undertaker.
Okay.
Brian Lee, who I actually shared a locker room with, and I think he asked me for drugs. He was the fake Underfaker for a while back when they did this angle. This back in the 90s. But yeah, he is the Undertaker. So
gotcha. Okay.
What happened to the pallbearer? Did they talk about the pallbearer?
They haven't talked about Paul Bear, but he passed away. And just recently.
That part, as a kid, with the pallbearer and the fucking urn and the fucking coffins and shit, with this,
Undertaker.
It was like a supernatural thing. As a kid, it was like a zombie guy.
Sure.
And then Kane was his brother or some shit.
Right, and they talk about like the eye roll. The eye roll thing. He just kind of did that one-off at a show, and they caught it on camera, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's amazing! Do that all the time." So, started doing that where he can roll his eyes all the way back to white. Sorry.
No. That sounds interesting. The documentary sounds interesting too. I told you guys I finished off the lights. Did we record when I said that?
All of the lights, all of
so the whole basement's lit now.
Completely finished last week. Yeah. You're talking about almost being lit.
Yeah. So it's completely done now. So now it's just a matter of diodes. In that room, I got a couple little odds and ends I still need to sort out. But yeah, it's good, man. Like I feel like I'm coming down the home stretch. Let me see if there's anything else. I'm not sure that there is. I tried the baked cheddar and sour cream chips. They're fucking awesome. And I think that's it. So,
wait, what brand? Where's this?
I don't know. Offhand, Ruffles maybe. I think it's Ruffles.
And what is it? Baked cheddar.
Yeah, the baked cheddar and sour cream. Fucking, they're badass. Only 11 in a serving size though, so that's kind of a bummer. I like it. I like to be around the 15, 16 mark to make me feel.
Like one container is one serving, bro.
Yeah, no, I fucking you're not wrong. I one of the guys I work with is big fat guy, right? And
big fat person.
Yeah, and so you know this other guy. I got two stories. So one is this big fat guy, and he but he's funny as shit about it, right? So we went to the store, and he bought the 4-pack of Cinnabons, like where it's like 4 big ass Cinnabons, like in the clamshell.
Yep.
And we came back, and somebody was like, family pack, and he just looked at him and said, "Don't believe it." And then the other story I have, so I've talked about him here a couple of times. This guy that I'm friends with named Chucky O, right?
Yep.
And he's an interesting character, and he's kind of like super nerdy. But not necessarily comic book nerdy. Like, he likes all that stuff, but like he's much more interested in how, you know, the atom works, you know, and he's like, he can go on a fucking 30-minute talk about molecules or whatever. So to be fair, sometimes when I deal with him, I'm like, look, I'm going to start this pot of coffee. When the pot of coffee is finished brewing, the conversation's over. So I'll be like, you have, and I'll be like, here we go. We're going to hit start. Go. And then he has that amount of time to give me the information. Or if I hear that something has happened like in his life, I'll hit him up and I'll be like, all right, tell me about such. Like, he was going to start his own brewing company. And I was like, tell me how it's going in 15 words. And he'll be like, oh, and he'll say, okay, give me a minute. And then it'll just be like this minute of silence. And then he'll come back with this 15-word description of what's going on that says everything. But like, interesting dude. Anyway, he's like a big Run the Jewels fan. Are any of you gentlemen familiar with Run the Jewels?
Yes, I don't. I started listening to their new album. I haven't had a chance to get through it all.
So, I'm not a huge fan. I like them generally, but I don't really have a. I guess I could listen to them when I'm in the gym, but other than that, like, I don't really have a place in my life where that music kind of fits in. Like, I would feel weird cooking dinner to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like
a lot of random shit, bro. I've heard you.
Yes, but this is like the spiritual. This is like the spiritual successor to Rage Against the Machine.
Okay.
And in fact,
while you fucking cook.
Nah, it doesn't. It's not the vibe. It's not the. Okay. I want to make
I love Rage.
I want to make my food with love, man. So like at any rate, they like Zach De La Rocha is on the albums and shit. You know, like,
all right,
like it's very much the spiritual successor, but it's Killer Mike and this guy LP, right? And they're fighting the good fight and all that. It's very whatever. And Chucky O listens to it all the time. He fucking loves it. And so he said this chicken that he was making one night, he was like, and it was absolutely delightful. And I was like, you're the only person who listens to Run the Jewels and also says delightful, for one. But for two, I'm now changed his name from Chucky O to Chucky Woke. So he's Chucky Woke. Anyway, all right. So let's get into a little bit of news. Oh, Phil, we didn't do Phil yet. Phil, how was you had surgery?
Yeah, my big thing was I had surgery.
I drug myself around the house like David Hasselhoff eating a cheeseburger.
Basically, yeah, very similar.
You guys remember that? David?
Dude, that video was wild.
Nah.
He seemed like he was like tanked on something, and he was just
drunk something.
Yeah, that's true. It could have been just drunk, but so yeah, I've been learning to ambulate in new ways, basically.
Yeah.
Say that sentence again real quick.
I've been learning to ambulate in new ways.
Man, that's some rhymes right in there, Bobby, somewhere. You got to pull it out. I had to mitigate to whatever that is.
So learning to crawl and hop and use crutches is interesting. I've been relying on my roommate a lot to get me stuff and take me places. So he's been pretty good about it because he's working from home.
Nice.
He even gave me a haircut last night since he usually cuts his own hair. So
I am going to cut my hair shave for the first time since February tomorrow.
Yeah, I hadn't had a haircut since right before the pandemic in February. So
I look like a homeless Santa Claus. It's even worse than the last time I showed you guys.
Oh, really?
Wow.
In the 70s.
Well, you see, hair grows, so.
That's a fact. Well, sometimes.
So,
And I did hear something very funny that is very true. A man with a beard wearing a face mask is like a woman with no pants on in the 70s. With the bush.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sorry.
So I've seen some of the same show Chris did, What We Do in the Shadows. I didn't realize it was based on a film by Taika Waititi back in the day. I'll have to see the original film at some point.
I think that's a Johnny Depp movie.
Is it?
I think I've seen it. Let me.
Oh no, isn't that Dark Shadows based on the old?
Oh yeah.
Series? Okay.
They all sound the same.
Yeah, they do sound similar because it is.
Kind of movie.
But I think the source material is different. But anyway, What We Do in the Shadows I like better than the Dark Shadows thing. I also managed to see the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the miniseries from the 70s that I didn't know was ever a miniseries before the more recent film in the 2000s.
The 2000 film was hard to sit through.
Oh, really? You didn't like it?
As much as I love sci-fi, I watched it first. If I had to choose to watch it, I tell people to watch the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes and you're good.
Oh, okay. It is very British, and the original 70 series is even more British. And I think it's closer to the book because it's more of a long-form 6-episode miniseries. It is very interesting considering they didn't have any digital effects back then. It was all like Star Wars or pre-Star Wars, like miniatures and prop stuff. So, but it's similar format. They go through the same story. It's very interesting. But I think the acting in the movie is better, but the story might be a little bit better in the original series. As far as like other stuff, I finally managed to. My buddy came over and helped me put together. I got the first part of it a while back, but I only recently, at the beginning of the year, I got the other half of the Skylinks from Reformatted Mastermind.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I because of work, I hadn't had time to mess with the thing at all. And my buddy's a big Transformers fan. He came over and visited me yesterday and had brought me like a gift package from him and his wife, some food and stuff. So he and I sat down and broke the thing apart and put it all together. It was pretty impressive. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I know it's not perfect or anything, but I think it's pretty well made.
Yeah, no, I think it's a decent IDW Skylinks. I think it's fairly well done IDW Skylinks.
Yeah, and especially the size of it is pretty impressive.
Yeah, my only gripe with it was people saying like it'll work just fine as an MPG1.
No,
it doesn't.
No way.
It doesn't. It
needs to be way bigger if it's going to be an MP.
And it just doesn't look like him in that regard. You know what I mean? It looks like the IDW one.
Yeah, it does look like the IDW.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But it's just.
But it had impact because I never had one of the original Skylinks as a kid, so it's just pretty cool.
Did anyone like Skylinks, really? I mean, I don't dislike him, but like he was just there.
Yeah, he was kind of like a background character to me because I knew as a kid I could never afford to get the toy, so he was just a big character for me in the background.
He's kind of nerdy too. I liked him because of the kind of service he provided, so to speak.
Yeah, he's like just the fucking transport,
right? But you never got to see him like get busy in that fucking Skylinks mode. I feel like really go for it.
And he always had this snarky British accent.
yeah, that didn't.
He always seemed kind of like he might be a jerk, but he was just there to transport.
Speaking of wonky things, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got that hyper real Luke Skywalker today.
Oh,
hyper real.
Does he have squishy skin like Darth Vader did?
Yeah, dude, and it's even more unnerving because it's like there's no armor plating over top, there's no soft goods, so it's just squishy.
Ooh, that
Did you take his shirt? Did you take his shirt off?
You can.
I just want to make sure that you have bought a smaller than Hot Toys figure with soft goods on it.
Yeah, no, so it doesn't have any soft goods. It
doesn't?
No.
Wait a minute. Let me look this thing up.
And it probably should. It probably should. Like they probably should have done the metal skeleton underneath and then a small squishy mannequin body and then soft goods over top. Is probably what they should have done, but they didn't. It's just squishy. It feels like something that you would find in like a dentist's office to like provide entertainment for your children for 15 minutes while you waited. But it's at the same time it's obviously like they care about it. Like it's shaded, it's highlighted, it's airbrushed, it's.
Oh, I remember looking at this. So you want a mannequin of the son of Anakin?
Panicking.
Dude,
You're
that is
panicking about not having a mannequin of the son of Anakin.
Oh my god, dude, that is a
And I'll tell
a
you,
lyric waiting to happen.
And I'll tell you, feeling the material of it, it makes me think about a time that I probably did use way too many napkins.
Oh, dude, listen, all that seamless stuff, it has a very sex toy feel to it. To me,
100%.
Wait,
100%.
Well, who makes that thing?
Hasbro.
I mean,
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds very weird.
synthetic flesh. So is these. So they are made of the same thing.
Yeah, it's like a Wreck-It Ralph fleshlight. It's not right.
And it's their, I think it's their attempt to kind of capture the Hot Toys Mezco market.
Wow.
But I don't think they should try. Not like this.
Yeah, I remember looking at this now. It's not like this. It's not great.
Yeah,
What scale is it?
I don't know.
Ninth scale, maybe.
Yeah, it's like old Play Arts.
Okay.
It's a pretty bizarre. Doesn't match with anything you've got scale.
Yeah, but it's
okay.
But it's also it's not bad. Like it's just strange. But it's not bad. It's like, and like the more you fuck with it, the more I don't think you can get a better looking articulated figure like seamlessly anywhere. Like you can get his shoulders further in front of his chest than I can. It's surprising how efficient it is for being how fucking bizarre it is.
You're doing a review?
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow goes up.
Oh,
tomorrow.
good. I gotta check that out then, because I gotta see this thing.
This is crazy because we actually had this conversation about 2 years ago. It was back me, you, and Adam, and we're talking about how me and Adam want our figures to be like a miniaturized real thing, and you never did. You're like, I don't want that. I like the joints, of an action figure, and Adam was like, what if you can have like a literal miniaturized version of like Luke Skywalker? And you're like, I don't want that.
Yeah,
well, just give me a statue at that point.
Now we actually have the technology for it, because back then it was like
correct,
and now you're right, you don't want this.
Yeah, well, it's not that I don't want it. I'm like I don't know if I should have it.
Are they planning a line for this, or is this a one-off?
So this is their second one. They did a Vader, which was fucking amazing.
I mean, this technology off from like the 112 or 16 female seamless body figures for creeps.
Yeah, dude, that's going to be super strange. I'll tell you right now.
Those exist first. They exist before.
No. If Hasbro does it, it's going to be super strange.
Pinkerton, was it you that brought one of the bodies into the show one day?
Yeah, so I bought the 112 scale female bodies became available. I bought one to try to do a custom that was beyond my capacity. I sent it to somebody else to do it, and they basically ended up fucking it up. Long story short. But people do a lot of cool shit. You can dye those bodies real easy, like the different colors. People are doing I don't know, different color bodies. I don't know how to explain what I was going to say, but Mezco's 89 Batman is that material. It's a seamless body.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not out yet, but
I find that
it's insider information.
Well, went to Toy Fair information.
I find it like it's like those seamless bodies, like the Fison ones or whatever.
Yes,
unless you're doing Lady Death. I don't find that most of the female bodies work for most of the characters I'd be interested in. I'm like, these breasts are too damn big, and I know I sound it just looks unnatural.
What if I told you there were several versions?
I know
with different size busts.
So I know there are, but I've seen people even use the moderate sized ones and for a Slave Leia, and I'm like, nope, it's too much.
Oh no! Listen, any of those for Slave? No, I've seen some scary ass Slave Leias.
Yes,
I'm done with those.
But I mean, you could dye the body and have a knockout Lady Death look just like it.
Yeah.
Anything else, Phil?
No, I think that's about it.
All right, let's get started with some notes then. We don't have much. It might be a shorter show today, but that's the cost of doing business sometimes. I I would send around the hyper real Luke for everybody to try, but I'm not sure I trust everybody on the show.
That's fair.
Pointing fingers out here.
Say what?
Who are we pointing fingers out here?
Nobody. Shmo. Just some guy, Shmo. You wouldn't know him. I send it to Chris. I had to wipe it down. I send it to Joe. It comes back smelling like shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, when I had the Wonder Woman. I made everybody that came to my house. I said you have to touch it just because it's so weird.
Right. I remember that.
Yep.
So this is. I'm all right, man. It's the strangest interaction I've ever had with a toy. Of that I've reviewed. All right, so sound. I got some good note titles in here. Sounds like a real space case. The U.S. military could lose the Space Force trademark to the Netflix series. The United States Space Force was only announced 2 years ago and has yet to engage in any military operations. But the latest branch of the U.S. Armed Forces already stands to lose its first battle to Netflix. The streaming service premiered its new sci-fi comedy series. The show's name has no relation to the newest organization, which unveiled its official flag only 2 weeks earlier. Because of the common moniker, though, the United States Space Force first battle might be a trademark war, fight in court rather than in space. Attorneys for the U.S. military have done little to secure the Space Force name as a registered trademark. Netflix, however, has been far more aggressive and has already locked down the rights to the name in several countries. That's not really much of a conversation point, maybe, but
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it's good fun.
It's very, very funny.
Yeah, I love that. It is the Space Force first battle will be in court.
Have you guys, any of you watched that yet? I haven't.
No.
I have no. It came out while my parents were here. I think once they head out, me and Kelly are gonna sit down and watch it.
Okay. I plan to get to it eventually, but I don't know when yet.
Phil,
I got on a big space movie kick. I didn't mention this. It's stuff I've seen. I watched Interstellar. I watched The Martian.
Oh, wow.
Did you, those are both great.
Which both have and the cast kind of crossover, which is funny.
You should watch The Moon, The Sun, and
The Sun is great. Or Sunlight.
The Moon's the one with Sam Rockwell. He's based on himself, right?
Yeah. The Moon, Sun, and Life with Ryan Reynolds.
I think I'm having expanse withdrawals, and that's why I've been watching the shit.
What's The Sun?
It's that fiery ball in the sky.
No, the movie. Come on, guys.
Oh, it's an hour and a half of you staring into the sun. It's
No.
Joe.
I think it's a bad idea to stare at the sun. Don't do it.
That reminded me of the sun is the sun. I know where it is. Where it was, pipsqueak. Every 8-year-old schoolboy knows the sunlight takes approximately to travel to Earth.
Fucking Flight of Dragons.
Flight of Dragons, bro.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the other note that we have in here is that according to Murphy's Multiverse, X-Men star Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver, has joined WandaVision in an as yet unspecified role. Peters is perhaps best known for his role as Peter Maximoff, aka Quicksilver, from X-Men Days of Future Past, or Apocalypse, or Dark Phoenix. So does anybody want this to be Quicksilver from those movies?
Okay. How I see that is, it will be interesting if that series can make it a multiversal aspect and him come in from the old Fox universe. That's the only way I can see that being good.
But
Otherwise,
what if
he's got to
it's
be
a different universe?
character.
What if he's Quicksilver from whatever they call that universe?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If that's what they're doing, I'm all for it. That's awesome.
Yeah, just to acknowledge that is a world, but not the one we're in now.
Yeah, like that's like a dying universe, and he survives it somehow, and she brings him into the MCU.
Yeah,
because her brother is dead.
I hate it. I think it's dumb, and I don't want any of that fucking spice in my soup.
Okay.
Keep that Fox bullshit in the fucking grave where it belongs.
I think between WandaVision leading into Doctor Strange in the Mouth of Madness could bring a real multiverse aspect to.
Oh God! If they bring these trash ass characters that they've established in these trash ass films,
I'm not saying bring everybody in, but they could bring like something in, and even if they don't use them for more than one thing, just to acknowledge that it's a multiverse would be interesting.
I'm good with being dead. Start over. It's just more of a mess to like try to like pick a piece of it to just start over, or not start over, just to leave it behind. Because they were never connected in the first place. So
correct. Yeah, I don't want any
more work to like incorporate it.
Because they could also use her as a way of cleaning house and destroying the other multiverses as well.
Well, I want that.
Yeah, but they don't. I don't think people view them connected anyway.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Quicksilver, and he did. He got shot.
Yeah, it's like me having to go over to your house to vacuum just to make sure my house is clean. Like, no, dude, my house is fine. You vacuum your own shit. I don't like it. I mean, but he might just be, an actor playing a different role.
He could just be a different dude. That's true.
But yeesh. Let's see, and then we have. I'm proud of this note. Also, diamonds aren't forever. This is pretty fucking big news. DC Comics ends the Diamond Comics distribution deal.
Yeah, that dropped.
Yeah, my comic book
midweek
owner friend is complaining about that shit.
So what is it? What is his complaints regarding it? What are his complaints regarding it?
That hold up. Oh, I can't even pull it up because I don't have Facebook anymore. But like, I mean, it's making it hard and making it more expensive for him to get DC stuff for his customers. So like, he's asking people with boxes and stuff, or the people that want DC stuff, to like let him know ahead of time and give him a list and shit, because it's gonna be a hassle.
Yeah, there is like I do feel for him, you know what I mean, and it sucks that he's gonna hold the short end of that stick, so to speak.
And I'm assuming all local,
right, of course. But like, dude, like that fucking monopoly needs to be treated as such.
Yeah, that too.
That company.
It's not good.
I mean, they've had such a stranglehold for such a long time that I think this is going to shake things up for the good.
Yeah, I think this will be a little bit of a growing pain until stuff can be sorted out a little bit better, but I think ultimately it would be a good thing.
DC Comics made a statement. They said after 25 years, DC and Diamond Comic distributors are ending their long-standing relationship. Moving forward, comic book retailers can obtain their DC books from Penguin Random House or their books and periodicals through Lunar or USC comic book distributors. DC continues to be committed to providing the direct market with the best-in-class service and in fans with the world's greatest comic books.
I'm curious what kind of precedent this will set for some of the other companies as well.
So it says, while critics have often said that Diamond's distribution monopoly had the potential to be bad for comics, the relatively low profitability of comics distribution seemed to be a barrier to new competitors entering the market. With comics distribution halted entirely for a time, comic book retailers seem to have decided it was in their best interest to have a fallback. Now, for one of the two largest publishers on the periodical comics in North America, the fallback is the new normal. So it's not been made lightly. It follows a long period of thought and consideration. The change in direction is in line with DC's overall strategic vision, intended to improve the health of and strengthen the direct market, as well as grow the number of fans who read comics worldwide. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's like I hate to hear that news, Joe, from your friend.
Yeah, but I feel bad because I'm not his friend, but I don't feel bad because like I always seen him as the fucking Betamax guy.
Right.
I was complaining about VHS. He's like that to me. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell him, bro. Like, sorry you picked a fucking a profession that isn't gonna last forever.
But it is something that like Diamond Distributors is a universal music group of the comic book industry.
Yeah, like we all know it's bad. We all fucking I've always known it's bad.
Yeah, it's just like they have a lockdown on everything. Like, and it's not just comics, as Chris knows very well. It's basically domestic toy distribution as well. So
almost every toy company, except the major players, have some sort of. And I don't understand. Like I'll choose Mezco as an example. I wholesale Mezco. But Mezco puts out previews exclusives, which previews is Diamond, and those are available. I don't have. You can get a Diamond account, which I've been told that they're horrible to deal with, especially if you're a small fish.
I can believe it.
So like I don't peddle the PX stuff because the only way I can buy it is through Entertainment Earth. And the way this Mezco game works is whatever Mezco sets a MRP, you can't sell below this as a new product, which Amazon, whoever sells on Amazon breaks, but I'm playing by the rules here, obviously. To sell it at that price, I'd lose money getting it to anybody.
Right.
To order it through Entertainment Earth. And I told my Entertainment Earth rep that when I saw him at Toy Fair. I said, unless you guys can, he's like, look, we can't do any better because the deal we have with them doesn't give us any wiggle.
Right.
Like, so everybody's kind of fucked on that. So I just order normally through BBTS because I guess they buy enough where they play fair with them.
Yeah.
Guess what happens when you have a monopoly? That's why it's bad, and that's why
they short people all the time. They over solicit and under deliver. I know on the figure standpoint, I'm sure they do on comics as well.
Yeah, they do.
And there's no consequences because they were the only ones, so like you can't do shit to them, you know.
Yeah.
Diamond shorts comics all the time.
Yeah. So now it's good. It's better.
Yeah. And I'm sure that, like, you know, it's like a Band-Aid, right? And there's always going to be that initial sting, and you're always going to be like, did I make the right choice? But I'm hoping that, much like a Band-Aid, it is necessary to peel it off at some point, because that shit needs. And like I was making this about the Universal. I was in a room recently with 3 other people when we were talking about monopolies, and Diamond came up in the conversation. But I was saying, like, or give me your favorite musical artist of this moment, right? And I can't remember all the names. I said Pop Smoke. Somebody else said Drake. Somebody else said, what's that young lady's name? This super big deal. Taylor Swift. And so I pulled them all up. All 3 of them distributed by Universal Music Group.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you? Not to get on a music conversation, but like as I just said that out loud, I was like, why the fuck do I need a distributor for fucking iTunes?
Right.
It's a racket.
Yeah, it's because it's the 360 deal nowadays.
Yeah, it's another give a handout to.
Well, I guess you need a distributor. I guess if you're Drake or you're Taylor Swift, you need a distributor because there's still the person walking past the aisle in Walmart or in Target that's going to pick up your CD and take it home with them. But like a lot of these guys, like if you're and me too, to be fair. But like a lot of these artists, like, I don't feel like they have that type of fan base. Like if you're not like Bieber or Ariana Grande or Taylor Swift or Drake or Rihanna, I feel like you probably don't need physical copies generally anymore as an artist. I don't know. Side note, I didn't mean to derail. The last bit of news that we have is The Mandalorian was locked in. Season 2 release date confirmed by Jon Favreau. October. So I'm looking forward to that an awful lot because I think that now that we've played the establishing game, now's the time to really sink into something. And I think that I have hope. I have hope that it's going to be, you know, more connected and more cohesive this go round than the previous. That's how I'm feeling about it. What is anybody else's thoughts about season 2 of Mandalorian?
I'm just ready for more Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with the character next. Now that he's been tasked with bringing the child home or trying to connect it to its species.
I enjoyed it, but I always thought it was overhyped and it's not like the greatest thing ever. So I want to see more, but I'm not dying to see it.
Yeah, same. But I feel like there's potential.
Yeah.
I was talking to Chan about it, and she made a good point of like something that she finds alluring about it that I hadn't necessarily thought of, and I can't remember if I brought this up last show or not. But like the concept of this character who was not abandoned, that's not the right word, but kind of given up by his parents in an effort to save his life, then being kind of inducted into this cult or whatever, for lack of a better term, this secret society, just to grow up and have to kind of abandon that secret society to save another child. Like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I hadn't either. But it's a good point that she brought up.
I like Esposito as a villain, and I'm glad
me too.
I'm glad he'll be coming back at some point.
Me too. And then we have just a few questions. Let's see what the first one is. It's an email. Our email is nerdrageradiomail@gmail.com because we couldn't find a longer one. And it is, hey, Nerd Rage crew. Hope everything is staying healthy and safe. First, I'd like to say thanks for the continued work to keep the podcast going through these unfortunate few months. Especially Bobby's daily content. Just got a couple questions to help pass the time. Joe, how are you enjoying your Play Arts Cloud figure? Are you going in on more of the line? And if so, how deep? Whoa. I keep looking at Least Cloud and Sephiroth, but then shying away. So god dang expensive. And also no motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, to get the motorcycle, you had to get the special edition of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I mean, I don't... The only Play Arts Kai I collect is Final Fantasy VII stuff, and I have all of it. So, and I'm gonna...
How is the motorcycle, Joe?
Watch Bobby's... Oh, no, Bobby didn't put the review up on the...
You didn't put it up, right?
On Patreon.
I put it on Patreon. I can send you.
Patreon?
I can send it to you.
It's great.
I'm curious, yeah.
It's like less gimmicks than the Fenra from the movie. But like the two of them together is fucking amazing.
Okay.
And like that scale vehicle with the
that's what I was curious about, the scale of the vehicle that big.
It's fucking great. And yeah, so now I have two clouds because one cloud came with this, and then one cloud I got like 2 years ago as a preview, and I'm gonna get a third one because they're releasing the game accurate one now that the game is out. I'm getting all of it, all the Final Fantasy VII stuff and the Advent Children stuff from before. It is overpriced now. I think it used to be like the 120 price range. Now they're like 150, and it's really not worth it unless you're like just a retarded fan like me.
I was just looking on eBay. That bike, the figure and bike that came with that game is going for in between $400 and $500.
Yeah, and the game, because you get the whole package was like low 300s for the game plus the figure.
It just makes me curious what they could, because of all the Batman stuff they've done, what they could accomplish with maybe a Bat Cycle on that scale or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I
know they probably would never do it because Final Fantasy is a bigger seller for them. But
not only as theirs, so like they don't have to.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a Bat Cycle licensing fee would be, and also as up for interpretation. Like all the different Batmans they have, like there's only this bike is this bike from this source material. Bat Cycle you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love them. I love the figure. I love all of the figures. There's like coming out. It's like I think I'm fucking $900 worth of Play Arts Kai.
Wow.
The order from Final Fantasy VII because Sephiroth is Aerith is fucking Reno and Rude, and and there's a lot and Tifa obviously, and then I'm sure there's gonna be more coming out.
Wow.
It's the only action figures I collect anymore. The only action figures I buy is Play Arts Kai, Final Fantasy VII stuff.
Hey man, that's your thing. That's your thing. So.
Yeah. And they don't. I mean, the problem is they don't make it any other way. For as big as the franchise is Final Fantasy VII, there's not much merch to it.
Agreed. Surprisingly.
I think because they have an in-house, store. I mean, in-house, brand.
Yeah, it's like Hasbro and Transformers.
Exactly. They don't want to license that shit out for whatever reason. I mean, I understand why. Especially with they're printing money. They're charging these fucking $150 figures. That really should be about the 90 to 100 range.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wish they made more and with more variety. Like
because the way they do their weapons.
Final Fantasy VII stuff would be amazing. Or statues. I'm buying third-party statues because there's no official statue.
Yeah. I kind of wish Play Arts would somehow tackle Soul Calibur because of all the weapons and stuff. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, but we have Storm collectibles.
Yeah, but they haven't touched that franchise yet, have they?
How do you feel, Bobby? They're just starting the Samurai Showdown line.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they'll give me. I'm sure it'll
be fantastic, but I'd like to see more.
It looks great.
Kombat fleshed out.
They'll give me 3 more female ninjas repaints to fund your Samurai Showdown.
It looks great. I can't believe it's just amazing though. Like really,
I can't wait to see what the finished Motaro looks like.
Unbiased wise, to see all these fucking popular '90s video games getting proper good action figures released.
It is cool.
But I have a question about that because on Into the Realm we always look at these new and these aren't like and no offense to anybody who's a huge fan, they're not like top tier video game titles. Some of this shit I'm having to really dig hard to remember. Are these huge? Were these big deals in Asia or something?
Depends on, I mean, how into the scene you are. Like they are.
Yeah.
They are still a big deal. Yeah, like Evo. We still have Evo every year, and it's a fucking huge event.
Yeah. King of Fighters is a major franchise that a lot of people love.
King of Fighters is still around, and like Showdown has a resurgence. You know, Street Fighter's still around, Mortal Kombat's still around.
Joe, have they done any Darkstalker stuff?
I don't know. Right? I don't think so.
That's the other franchise I'm kind of curious if somebody would do.
But like in the arcades, these were I don't know. Do you go to arcades much back in the day, Pinkerton? Like
those were always around. Man.
Yeah, and they're money makers because they're people lined up to fight each other, and orders up on the marquee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like nothing. I don't feel like any of them, at least in my experience, like are comparable to Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
No, yeah, those were always the two big ones.
They were the two big ones, but these other ones were popular. Also, like in Asia land, they were more popular.
Gotcha. I remember Virtual Fighter was like super popular too, but I was like, this shit looks like trash.
Yeah, it looks like garbage.
The two that I remember having huge lines were Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and the first Tekken Tag. Because I used to line up in the Tekken Tag line for like an hour waiting to play.
Yeah, that's the only Tekken I like.
The longest lines I'll ever remember is in Mortal Kombat 2. I've never seen anything like it. People outside of the fucking people.
Yeah, it was pretty
outside of the arcade waiting to just not even to play it, just to see it.
Yeah, just to watch. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it before. After Killer Instinct had a huge thing too.
I used to wait in line to play Killer Instinct. Yeah. The original.
Hey, who played Primal Rage? You fucking monkey friend.
I did. You know I did.
I never had a place near me that had Primal Rage.
Yes, you did.
I played that as an adult.
Yes, you did. That Bowling Alley and Hopewell had it.
No. I mean, when I was a kid, I wasn't around here. I was up in Cecil County.
Oh, okay. So. Rage.
Yeah.
Dude, if they did,
don't start making fucking Primal Rage.
I was just getting ready to say that, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd be tempted.
Just to get the ape at least, right?
So
I don't know, man. Some of the dinosaurs are fucking cool, bro.
Dude, they were cool. I wish they would have had figures of those when I was a kid, man. I would have bought them.
Yeah. The ape was not your main, Bobby?
No, surprisingly, no. Like it was that one. Wasn't there one dinosaur that could like extend his neck? Like
was it? There was Armadon. That was the Triceratops Stegosaurus mix.
No, not that thing.
And there was like a standing up sauropod that had a long neck. I forget what his name was.
There was a bunch of dinosaurs. It was like
there's two different T-Rexes. There was a Talon, which was the raptor.
The raptor. I definitely used him from time to time.
There was the two apes, and then there was Armadon, which was the armored dinosaur, and then there was a long neck kind of plesiosaur or sauropod dinosaur that was I couldn't remember the name.
I think I played the long neck and the raptor most.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will say like even their fucking like I think Joe that we've talked about here before how like that Storm Collectibles guy like has a beef with female characters, like so to speak.
He doesn't like to make
like he doesn't like to do female characters. Like I'm
even
almost
good at them. I don't know why.
I agree, and I kind of want to see a picture of this dude because I feel like he's got this fucking hard on for huge muscular men. Like, and that's just to suggest that perhaps he's like 3'4". Because like
I've actually met the guy.
What's he like? Really? What's he like? What's his physical build like?
He's not a big jacked up guy. He's just like regular dude.
But height wise,
I don't know. He's short.
Well, you're the wrong person.
He's somewhere between Bobby's height and Joe's height.
Okay, because the reason why I say that is like look at Injustice. Like, all right, we're gonna roll out this Injustice line. Let's start with Doomsday, Bane, like
Darkseid.
Darkseid, like all like the biggest fucking dudes. Lobo.
Well, can I ask a question? Because I don't know. Is the price point higher on the bigger figures than it would be on the smaller figures?
I think it was higher on Goro. I can't.
Yeah, it was definitely Goro.
But
Shao Kahn was higher.
Who came with the chair?
Yeah, Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn had the dog toy.
Is he the one that had the? I was going to say the inflatable party time chair.
Yeah, it was the dog.
The dog toy.
Yeah, that chair felt like if you squeezed it, it should have went.
Hey, does anybody know if Lobo's coming with a bike?
He's not.
Okay. Or the dog? What about the dog?
I don't think so. I have him up. I think is he up for pre-order? I can't remember. I have all of them that are up for pre-ordered, but it's Bane, Doomsday, I think Lobo as well, and maybe I don't think Superman's up. And like
no, he comes with hands, a gun, a chain, some other little gimmicks. No accessories like that.
Does it show if Darkseid comes with various forms of Omega beams or no?
No, he's not that far along yet. Darkseid. I don't think.
The Mezco one did. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I know. That's very good.
It could be a child of the '90s thing, because like when we grew up, in the '90s in comic books and stuff, like everyone was like ridiculously jacked like that. Like they're still jacked now, but they've calmed down now.
Thank you, Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld.
Well, if you look at like '90s Deadpool and Deadpool of today, like. There's a huge difference.
Right, I understand that, but I feel like he's doing like look, we have of the Mortal Kombat, he ran the ninjas, right? Because money. And then like Shao Kahn, Goro, Motaro. Like I'm like, where's fucking what fucking world do we live in where you do a Mortal Kombat and we still don't have a Liu Kang?
That's true.
Or a Kung Lao. It's kind of those are like
nah. I wouldn't even put Kung Lao in the top 5.
No, Liu Kang is the main.
Yeah, Liu Kang
is, but Kung Lao eventually is intended to win.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he's not the face of the franchise. Like it's Liu Kang. I would say Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Original.
And maybe Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
because of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, none of those are fucking big enough.
Right.
Speaking of Liefeld, one thing I forgot, I did get a chance to watch. There's a little documentary on Amazon Prime called it's something to do with the Image universe and it goes through the history of the creation of Image Comics, from how all the guys got together, left Marvel, and it interviews all the guys, goes through the history as a company and how they kind of almost crashed at the end of the 90s and have come back since then. It's really interesting if you get a chance to see it. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I saw that a while. That's old.
Yeah, it's old, but I never got a chance to see it.
Yeah, it's quite good.
It's really good.
Yeah. All right. So then he had another question that was for me, I think mainly, but then anybody was welcome to answer. He said, Bobby or any of you, just curious if
Bobby or any of you.
I think it'll make sense when I read it. Just curious if you have heard or listened to a group called Czarface. Consists of Inspector Deck, 7L, and Historic. If you have, what are your thoughts? If not, they use a lot of Star Wars comics, 80s cartoons, and wrestling in their lyrics. It's pretty fun listen. So, I have not listened to them specifically. I am familiar with all three. Obviously, Inspector Deck from Wu-Tang Clan and 7L and Historic, I think, were like their own group, just the two of them. I'm only aware of 7L and Historic because they did a song that sampled like the Transformers theme. Look, oh boy. Here's my I haven't listened to them as a group, so I can't judge them, and I will check them out, Dylan. I will. Here's my beef with making like boom bappy type rap now. It sounds out of fucking place. Like, I love the boom bap era. I love it. In that era. Like, and I feel like I can go back. It's just like when people are like, look, you didn't ruin my childhood. My childhood's fine. I can go back and watch those DVDs anytime I want. That's kind of how I feel about rap music when like they ruin rap music. I'm like, no, they didn't. You can go back and have your boom bap shit anytime you want. It's just evolved, and there's even an evolution of that strand, in my opinion. But like, when people do it now, it never sounds appropriate to me. With very rare kind of exceptions. So no, I haven't listened to them. I will listen to them. I like Inspector Deck from the 90s. Later Inspector Deck sounds like, like there's a fucking window to this shit, right? Like you're in your prime, any musician, and then there's the tail end of it, and I'm not sure if it will be for me, but I will give it a shot. I know that all three of them are highly respected and talented and all those sorts of things. It's not a knock on them. It's just not necessarily my bag. If I want boom bap, I'll just go listen to old OC or Showbiz and AG or all that kind of stuff, which is great. But it's like I don't want to hear disco now, but I'll go listen to the Bee Gees.
I get it. And like retro sound is a thing, though, right? Like a modernized retro sounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Music in general?
Well, so that's kind of my thing, is that sometimes it does work. So I said with limited exceptions, right? Because sometimes it does work, but I think that when your whole vibe is to sound like, so I could use this. There's this crew called Griselda. I'm not, Chris, are you familiar with them at all?
I've heard the name.
Okay, so
that rings a bell at least.
yeah, so most of they're like super highly respected, like have a really strong kind of like grassroots almost movement behind them, where they have like this core dedicated fan base, and they have like a very most of them I think are signed and distributed through Shady, which is through Interscope.
That's why I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And which is ultimately through Sony, right? Because there's only really 3 big players out there. But they are definitely of that boom bap era, but even though their music today is not necessarily for me, it's the evolution of it. It sounds modern while sounding retro, which is what I think you're trying to. Yes. But a lot of this other stuff, it sounds like it was in a time capsule, and we're finding it. Where like if you don't have the nostalgic connection to it, it doesn't hit the same way. But yeah, I'm Griselda too. In the same breath, like I'm not a huge fan of their music, but I respect the fuck out of them. Especially like what they're doing. I love everything about them, like their style, their what they do with fashion, and like their imagery, like everything about them. Except their music, which I feel shitty saying. It's just not for me. And I it's like one of those things where like mashed potatoes, right? So I know mashed potatoes are good, because everybody that I'm around is like, they're you're having mashed potatoes? Oh, look how fluffy they are. Ooh, put in some extra creams or butters and salts and gravy and what have you. And I'm like, I know this is good. Why don't I like it?
It's just mashed up French fries with shit in it.
Yeah, I think I like the French part of it, or maybe the fry part of it. Maybe probably the fry. It's like... so that's how I feel about Griselda. I know it's good. I'm more frustrated. Or the beach. Like, I know this is an enjoyable experience. Why am I not enjoying it?
Well, that's not for social gatherings.
Yeah, except I have you on video footage loving a social gathering, Joe. You were. I have you on video, loving, smiling ear to ear a social gathering while watching Casino on your phone. It's fucked up.
Sounds about right, though.
Okay, so then his last note is, then I thought I'd just put this out there for discussion. I recently came across this Star Wars theory. The voices of the Jedi that Rey hears at the end of 9 are really Palpatine, and he's pulling the same voices in your head move on her as he did with Ben, ultimately accomplishing his goal and passing his spirit and the other Sith spirits onto Rey. Sure, it seems like he's defeated, but the army that he has gathered and hiding is destroyed, but it seems like Palps is about playing the long game with the big payout. So look, I like that.
Incredible.
Yeah, I don't think that was their intention, but since I think their intention fails anyway, I'm as good with that as I am with any of it. It makes Palpatine cooler, at least to me. Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that would be a bummer, kind of, but I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes my head hurt.
Yeah, makes the story interesting.
Yeah. And then he says, sending positive and chill vibes down your way from BC, Canada. Thanks again, boys. Thank you, Dylan.
Right on.
And then we have, as to the best of my knowledge, one more question. Please send your questions in, because we are out of questions.
Did you see the one for Passive Bear? I put it in the notes.
So that's the one I'm going to right now.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And this says, hey guys, always enjoy the show. Thank you for keeping the spirits up. I tend to only collect Black Series troopers, but have been wanting to build a hero and villain shelf from the original trilogy. Would you recommend SHF Figuarts or Mafex?
How about a little of both?
Yeah, I think...
You got to pick and choose your way through that, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So let me ask you this, Chris, and Joe, if anybody else has an opinion. I think that Chris and I might be the most versed in this topic.
Definitely.
What Mafex suggestions come to mind? Because I agree with you, but I'm thinking about it myself. Some of their troopers are
for
like the heroes. Yeah, the heroes and.
Now, did he say villain? He's looking for villains.
Well, I think like main characters, not like troops and.
Oh, okay. Oh, so let me think. I I think the Boba Fett Mayfix.
That was going to be the very first one I went to, dude.
So, and I like, their Shore Trooper is awesome, Mayfixes, because it's got these swap out parts, and I don't know Mayfix if I've maybe had a Vader at one point, but other than that, I mean, that's the one that stands out. Figuarts, I don't know, man. Their face sculpt game to me or the paint game has not been the best lately.
Yeah, it's hit or miss for sure.
And then that Count Dooku they did, I don't know what the fuck that was.
The Han Solo is fucking perfect though. So it's like it is hit or miss. I agree.
But I will say this: if you're in a 6-inch Star Wars and you're mainly collecting Black Series, you're not doing anything wrong right now.
That's a fact.
I don't know that you really need, unless you just want toe articulation. I don't know, that you really need to go into $60 6-inch figures. Like I got the Mandalorian this week, Figuarts, and it's like, oh, it's good. I'm not mad at it, but it's like, is this $40 better than the $20 figure?
Well, especially with a helmeted character,
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that I'm dead on with you. Boba Fett is the very first one that comes to mind.
There's even two versions of that, I think.
I think you're right. The Return of the Jedi and the Empire one. If I were to think of another one, like gun to my head, I would say kind of decide which Rey you want. And if you want the Episode 7 Rey, I think, Mayfix is the only one that's done one aside from Hasbro. So those would be my two choices for Mayfix, and then everything else generally would be Figuarts if you wanted to go the import route. But like Chris said, and I co-sign, as good as these fucking Black Series are getting, I'm a fucking idiot with no self-control, so I'm getting it, but it's harder to say this is worth the money. It used to be the easiest thing for me to say. Do you want another slice of pizza? My answer being yes would be probably number one. Do you mind if I suck your dick? Yes, of course, go ahead, have at it, and then get the fucking Figuarts over the Black Series. But now it's not as easy to say because, like Chris said, they're better, but I don't know if they're $40 to sometimes $80 better.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah, dude.
That's like double the price, right?
Triple,
quadruple.
Yeah.
I mean, Mayfix is charging even more than Figuarts now. I'll be honest, I ended up with two. I didn't realize I had ordered two of those Mandalorians, and I was like, "Fuck, that's $120. Jeez, that seems high." And they get here, I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad. I mean, but then Mayfix is another 20 or 25 on top of that, especially if you're ordering from an import site.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, all those Bondi exclusives and all that shit, and then before you know what I mean, if you can't catch that one before it sells out on the import market, then you got to pay import fees, and then it's fucking $120 for a fucking 3PO. Kiss my ass.
Yeah, patience saves pockets. Hang around to these groups. The Star Wars, more than in Star Wars and Marvel, to me, seem to have a market, a up and down market.
Yeah.
If you can buy low and sell high, if you're a seller, you're golden. Just don't do it the other way around, or you're going to be screwed.
What were we saying, Joe?
Is the exclusive stuff still hard to get here?
It depends, because there's only a handful of sites that it goes up on, right?
Yeah.
And if you can get in on those sites, then you're golden. But a lot of that shit sells out so quick that you're left to then pre-ordering it at BBTS, where there's a $20 to $40 increase on it.
Yeah. Maybe it's because of the license thing, but I think Bandai, at least for Gundam stuff, they finally realized it's an American market because as P Bandai, right? They have all these premium or exclusive limited edition Gundam kits that they sell through P Bandai website. And it actually is just basically the same price, tiny little bit higher than the regular kits. But by the time it gets here, if you want to order it, through third party or whatever, it's super expensive. But they recently opened a P Bandai America website where you can order P Bandai Gundam kits.
Yeah,
normally.
So that would be nice if they did that with the Figuarts stuff or the Tamashii Nation stuff.
Yeah,
that would be nice. And it's funny, man. I don't know if any of you had time to catch it, but I've been doing these. I did this Figuarts series on Force Friday. In this last episode, I tackled the connection between Bluefin, Tamashii Nations, and Hasbro.
Yep.
And
Bluefin is a culprit.
Dude, it's so fascinating to me that like all these years I thought like the tree is Bondi, Figwarts, Tamashii Nations, and it's fucking not. It's Bondi, Tamashii Nations, Figwarts. Like Tamashii Nations is the parent, brand of Figwarts, not vice versa. I don't know. One of them things.
It's interesting.
It's hard to know when you're outside, like especially being in America and stuff. You don't really. You just know the names of things.
Yeah, and the logos.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll say shout out to. Well, before we do that, I'm gonna say also like, prayers, thoughts, positivity, love coming from this end of the table to everybody out there.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Be good to each other.
Yeah, take care of yourselves. Look out for each other. Be good to each other. Fucking civility, decency, kindness.
Goes a very long way.
Simple shit. So shit your mother. I shouldn't have to tell you this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your mom or your grandmom or your dad should have gotten to you before I did. But yeah, good vibes. Positive vibes only. I'm going my Instagram thought shit. But other than that, shout out to the rest of the cool table, Shadowcast Uncut, Enter the Realm, Stasis Lock, Toy Detox, Building Up to It, Fresh Communications, Verbally Challenged, and Breaking the Mold. Shout out to the rest of the Nerve Rage team, Dante, who I listened to on the All Queued Up podcast.
Yeah, that was good.
So shout out to him, and it was interesting because I hit him up during that podcast. It's serendipitous sometimes, shit like that. And I had a good I had a lot of something about all this shit that's been going on. I can't speak for you gentlemen, but I've had a lot of good conversations with people recently. Like
yeah, I have as well.
Like where like everybody's down to like share and exchange ideas and thoughts and on a one-on-one basis. Not so much internet talk, but like get on the phone and I had a great conversation with Eric B. I had a great conversation with InstaSam. Like and it was positive, like people growing from a conversation as opposed to tearing people down, which I feel like is what I see the rhetoric being online. Shout out to let's see who else, Manny behind the scenes, all of the people that helped me with the 4 shows, Andy, both Andys, Esteban, all of that. And shout out to Phil, of course, who's here, and he's been doing our Twitter and notes. Rest up, Phil. Recover.
Will do.
And shout out to Raul handling the Instagram. And I think that's it.
All right.
Dante Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I said to Don because I talked about the all queue.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. After that, flappy labius.
Tasty taint.
Velvety vagina.
Tight dick player.
See.